Guys, welcome back to another case study interview. Welcome, Levi.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, super pumped to have you here. This is really, really cool. We were just talking about before we hit record that one of your biggest goals was that we filmed a case study during the month of June. So it's funny how things
Yeah,
align. And yeah, man, massive result. Do you want to tell the guys how much commissions you got in the last 30 days appointment setting?
absolutely. So finishing off on the month of June, it was 10,600 or around that. Um, yeah, purely just based off outbound setting, some inbound, but yeah,
Crazy. And this is all while appointment setting. And you're 23 years old, traveling to Bali with your partner as well, which is super exciting. So you're living the full digital nomad life that everyone sees on Instagram nowadays. But
yeah,
it wasn't overnight. We definitely both know that, as with all my case studies. There's been a lot of hard work, there's been a lot of sacrifices to get here. So I'm super excited to start unpacking your journey and going through what it took to actually get this result because it wasn't easy, it wasn't overnight. And I think your story, like all other case studies in the channel, is just going to inspire people that, like myself and like yourself, we're just guys, normal people that really wanted to make this work. And yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be inspired by your story.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, keyword normal. Like that was sort of the main reason I even spoke to you in the first place. Is like I remember you asked me on the call like while I was there, and I was like, you just seem like a normal dude. Like compared to there's so many people out there that are just like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we could go deep into that, but we'll keep that as a general. Everybody knows what we're talking about: gurus, Ferraris, all the type of
Yeah.
good stuff. But if we're to
Yep.
go way back when, before you actually met me, you had spent some time working in the high ticket sales space before you actually met me and joined my training program as well. So do we want to dive into that? Like, let's go before you got into high ticket sales, as well as what you did when you first joined high ticket sales and like what your journey was with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was like looking back now, there was actually a lot of different offers I was on, and I just had no direction at all. Like I was purely just watching free YouTube content, YouTube University, just like trying to figure it out. So during the time, like the job I was balancing, I was actually working as a lifeguard. So I was
Mm.
working doing that, and then after that, I'll just try do LinkedIn outreach. Probably send a few like really corny messages to founders and stuff like that. Um, and then eventually, actually, I landed a DM setting role. Um, and then I was just doing that while I was at work the whole time. And that was sort of how I ran it for a bit. There was other like bunch of other offers where I just wasn't making any money at all. But that DM setting role was like the first role I actually made some money in.
Sick.
Yeah,
And
and that was
so you kind of bouncing around the space for a little bit. What got you to join the space? So you're a lifeguard at the time. You don't have to name the name of the training program. I don't think you mentioned it doesn't even exist anymore, which is fine. From memory. Is that right?
no. So at the oh yeah, that's right. Actually, I did do a program, and it was based in the US. I don't know if they're still working or still doing it. They might be. Um, to be completely fair, like I don't know if that was all on them. It was just because it was a program that didn't really align with it. They were in the US, and it was more of a. The only reason I got in was because of guaranteed placement, which is just a story you've probably
Mm,
heard a million times.
yeah.
Obviously, it didn't work out to be the case. There was like a few modules, boom, you're in, you can get your job now. That was kind of the go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work out
Just,
too well.
just to highlight on that, I think it's just important for guys to know if you're looking to join the space, you're a complete beginner. I think Levi will appreciate me saying this, and he wish he probably knew about this when he first got started, as I'm so like it's a story as old as time that I get told on a weekly basis. If you're looking to get in this space, guaranteed placement is not real. I have not seen in 99% of cases, I've seen that guaranteed placement doesn't work. Even if it does, you're in a point where you're kind of capped and you don't know how to get your own jobs, right? If you can't learn the skill on how to get your own jobs, you're in a really sticky situation. There's so many things that are wrong with guaranteed placement. There's a video on my YouTube channel kind of unpacking on why that doesn't work. But if you're someone looking to get in the space, just be very aware that it very, very rarely actually pulls through, especially when in high ticket sales in the startup space, you're working with a bunch of startup companies, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to get a guaranteed income if you get a guaranteed job, because not all companies are created equal in the high ticket sales space, as you would know, as all my clients know. It just doesn't work in the majority of
Yeah.
cases. So if someone says, pay me 5K and I'll get you a guaranteed job, definitely don't believe it because it's 99% of the time not going to be true.
Yeah, more often than not, it's they'll get the 5K and then they'll get a little referral fee for getting you placed if it works out. But even then, you
Exactly.
still got to actually do well for them to get the money. So yeah, it's a bit
Exactly.
of a,
So
bit of a
it's a
slippery
whole
slope.
thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So you joined that training program and you're kind of like flip-flopping from like offer to offer, like doing a bit of DM setting here and there. Like walk me through like the types of offers that you were getting when you first joined that program.
Yeah, so like initially I was on an offer and I didn't even know if it was an offer. Like I was just it was like HR business solutions, just straight cold LinkedIn outreach, call people. I didn't even know like what how much the investment was. I didn't know if it was a course. I didn't know if it was services. I had no idea what I was selling. It was just absolute jargon that I was throwing at people. And if I could listen to one of those calls, oh, it'd be so fun just going down that route because I can guarantee I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that was one. There was another one where I get paid $50 per set for like a marketing agency for lawyers. I don't
Mm.
even know if they still exist. And then there was another
Yeah.
one just selling marketing to tradies that were yeah not keen to talk to me during the days
Yeah.
because I didn't have
No,
any skills either.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That'd be fairly unforgiving, considering the role and the companies you're working for probably weren't fantastic offers in the first place, and the nature of the role is obviously not great in combination. So
Yeah,
you went from that to actually working for a decent company. At the time that I met you, you were working for an email marketing company, and they're doing very well. It's
yeah,
actually someone that I know personally. Um, you were making decent money. I think at the time we had a conversation in Bali, and you were pretty much you kind of like here or there, you're looking at different things. You were kind of not too sure of like whether it's something you
yeah.
should do or that you shouldn't do. Like walk me through why you were looking for more training and how you actually ultimately ended up finding me.
Yeah, so that was a well, at the time of our call when that happened. So I was traveling. I was in Thailand, and then yeah, I was heading to Bali. I think the week I was talking to you, and I was running three offers at the same time, which is obviously not optimal. I was doing the tradie offer, um, was doing a DM setting offer, and then doing the email marketing offer, and trying to transition across to the email one because it was a base, and I was like, that's a good spot to set up and get some money in the door while I sort of learn the ropes a bit more. Um, so sorry, what was the question?
So how did you go from working those three offers to then having a conversation with me and looking for more training?
Yeah, that's right. Because I was just trying to teach myself like how to actually make some money out of it because I was feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere pretty quickly, and I knew that the possibilities of making money were there. I hadn't seen it in person before. I hadn't had any mates doing it, but I knew it was there. Um, and I actually really struggled to get in touch with you because obviously you don't like run ads or any of that stuff. So I went through your YouTube, went through your Twitter. I think I even messaged you on Twitter, and then I found a link somehow somewhere, and I booked a call. But the reason I booked a call is just because I was just running myself thin, and I had no money coming in, and I was just doing way too much work, and obviously not getting any results.
Crazy. And so our conversation at the time, I believe, it was just like, I'm working three offers. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help, but I'm not sure I
Yeah,
can get it kind of right now. Like what kind of evolved from that conversation? Because you didn't join in the first call, and we were
yeah,
pretty chill about that from my memory.
yeah.
And then you just kind of got to come back at some point. So do you remember at what point we had the call and then when you actually ended up joining?
I think there might have been a month or two difference, and that's when I sort
Mm,
of I think you gave me some advice on actually what to do. You said pretty much just hone in on this guy's offer, grab the base, and just sort of start. I think it was more just like get over there, so just on the one thing, and you can start working it out a bit more. Um, pretty much I think just come back when you're ready was sort of the initial conversation, which
Yeah.
is great because obviously you weren't trying to push me into anything because it wouldn't have made sense, I don't think, at the time to, invest money I don't have while I'm overseas. Um,
Yeah.
so, so that could have ended up pretty badly too. But yeah, and obviously I came back because that was like the first thing in my mind was like, as soon as I get some money, I'm going straight to Connor, so I can actually fucking work this thing out and start getting some cash in the door.
Yeah, awesome. And I think from our initial call from when you actually joined, I was like, great. Your offer's got you some good base. You've got some good skill level now. I think it's probably best that you find an opportunity that's going to enable you to hit 10K a month. And it's kind of like what we
Yeah,
set our eyes on
yeah,
from that point moving forwards, right?
yeah, that's right. It was even a tricky conversation because we both really like the guy who runs the company. Um, Even then, I was like, oh, I don't know if I should. He's a great guy, making still pretty good money, but like just having that clarity where you're like, come on, are you going to make 10K a month there anytime soon? I'm like, probably not. Let's move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. And the real critical thing is with high ticket sales for most guys starting out is that you need to think for yourself. You need to be selfish. And you're going to work with some great founders. You're going to work with some great people, some great businesses who really take care of you financially, training, so on and so forth. But the thing that most beginners need to remember and understand is that you're a contractor, you're your own business, and if you were to get put in hospital tomorrow, who will be paying your hospital bills? It's probably going to be you, right? You don't get a pension, you don't get a retirement fund or any benefits usually. Like you have to be really taking care of yourself. And the big thing that I see really limits most guys getting started in this space is limited decision-making skills and being too close to the founder that they're working with. That limits them from getting and finding a great opportunity. And it's a fine line and balance between offer hopping and just going to the next thing and just because it looks good versus
Mm.
does this opportunity actually align with my goals right now? Which, again, are very, very logical questions, but at the time you can feel a little bit overwhelmed because you've built such a great relationship with the guy that you're working with or the founder you're working with, and you kind of don't want to move on because they feel like they're the only person that exists out there that's got a working business and it does really well.
Yeah, yeah, especially when you've got a bit of base there to sweeten the deal, makes you not want to really, because the safety net's still there if you've got a base. Let's be honest, like you're not fully in it because you don't have that sort of do or die mentality.
Mm,
And yeah, the mindset around running it as your business, even though it's a really strong point for going from offer to offer, it's also like when you are on a really good offer, running it as your own business makes it so much more important because you don't want to you don't want to have a shitty business. Like if you're working for a company and they really rely on you to make the money as well, it's like your services of being a salesman are just as important to them as it is for you. So you need to scale up as best as you can if you actually want to make your business, aka you, the most money that you want.
100%. You need to hold yourself to a high standard as a professional in this space, which is really, really key. Like a lot of young guys come into the industry thinking that they can treat this as they would a normal job. Yes, you're not running a business in high ticket sales, but technically you are, right? You are the sales department, you are the marketing department, you are the fulfillment department, you are all these things. You need to market yourself, you need to go and find jobs, you need to get the best jobs, you need to negotiate with clients, you need to fulfill with clients, you need to make sure clients are happy. You're doing everything that is required with a business without having to have all the skills up front, right? Without having to have all the lack of profits, stress of running a business, managing people, actual fulfillment, like products, things that you have to fulfill for. Your fulfillment is just being a professional and handling your clients like you would your own. That's pretty much all that it
Yeah,
is.
absolutely, and it's still a two-way street regardless. Because like on a good company or a good offer, they'll provide you training if they see that you've got potential and that you can actually make the money. But you've got to do your part. You can't just sit there and expect them to make you a great closer, a great setter. You actually still need to do your part as a business to actually help them out too.
Yeah, absolutely. So you went from selling email marketing to laying an offer with the new network, which is fantastic. And what do you sell now? Just to give the guys who are looking to get in this space a bit of an example of what you do sell and what they could be selling. Like what's the main way that you help your clients at the moment?
Yeah, so it's a biz op. We sell e-commerce like mentorship, actually on the same offer as Zen,
Yeah.
previous case study. So shout out to Zen for getting me in there in the first place and helping me out. He was yeah, crucial to that as much as you were. But yeah, pretty much we just help people, learn how to start a business, how to scale it. It's super congruent for when like it's really congruent with sales, because it's like you need to eventually take that leap and get into the mindset of being a business owner regardless, even though it's two different types of business. It's like when you're selling it, you need to have done that before, otherwise it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah. And like what are the type of tickets that you're selling in terms of prices? So this is the moment the result you've achieved is just by appointment setting. So it's not even closing yet. There's room for closing in the offer that you're on at the moment, which is super exciting. Um, what type of tickets are you selling? Like how expensive is it? Like how high ticket is what you're selling?
So it's anywhere from like 3 to up to 25K. So on the
Mm.
lower end, obviously like around 4, and then on the higher end like 25. Can maybe squeeze a little bit more out if they're running any sort of special offers, but usually that's where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah. So super expensive stuff. And it's crazy to go from, being a lifeguard to now talking to people, setting them up for conversations to where they're going to spend, upwards of 25 to $30,000. Like, what would you say that transition's been like? You only been in the space for around a year, and
Yeah.
just over a year ago, you were literally working as a lifeguard. So, how would you say your life or your day-to-day differs as to compose back to when you were working as a lifeguard?
Well, it's really like the way I see it is the more responsibility I put on myself, like the more my income actually goes up. Um,
Mm,
so it's like it's pretty easy to just coast and collect your paycheck when you're not really doing anything. Like I was doing DM seating while I was watching, like trying to watch people not drown. So like I was still getting away with a bit. Obviously, I can't
crazy.
start sending DMs while I'm on the phone to people today. Like that wouldn't fly. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, it's a really big shift in mentality of actually owning what you need to do, and actually going for it, and then backing yourself is a whole nother thing as well.
Super interesting. I think a really big thing I like to really emphasize in these interviews is that if you're someone who's looking to explore high ticket sales, looking to get involved with this, the thing that you need to accept and understand is that just as you would run your own business, the same rule applies here for high ticket sales as a career. This is not a career that you can kind of just show up and get paid for. It's a huge mistake a lot of guys make in this industry, in this space. A lot of younger guys come in expecting that it's going to be like they show up, they get paid, right? The big key thing here to understand with sales as a whole is that ultimately it's a meritocracy. And because it's meritocracy, you only get paid for the results that you bring to the table. You only eat what you kill. So if you're not willing and capable to take full accountability and responsibility for your results, you're going to get crushed in this industry. Like you just are. This is not a willy-nilly, hey, I show up and I get paid just like a normal bar job or whatever else that you might have worked in the past that you're currently working. Like you're going to get paid in direct correlation to the person that you show up as. And so that's why I think that most people really dislike business and sales because the individual themselves are purely just not willing to show up as the guy they need to be to make the money that they want.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I actually just had a prospect ringing me then. Hopefully that didn't
It's okay.
interrupt anything.
No, it's
Um,
fine.
but yeah, it's a direct correlation. Like with that, just because, like I've seen it before. Like people will just kind of sit there and kind of hope, just because they're in the right place, they're on the right offer, that the money will just come, because that was the hard part in getting there in the first place. But it's like no, now you're on there. You actually need to, now you got to put your head down and really do the work. Um, like you're responsible for your paycheck. That means you're responsible for your skills, because they're pretty much the same thing. So you better invest into yourself. Otherwise, it's not looking
Yeah.
good.
moving on from that, I think that's a good topic to bridge off in terms of the expectations of the industry. You've been in the space for a while now, like around a year. Wasn't easy, wasn't overnight. There's probably a ton of times where you thought, I probably want to quit this, or I'm not sure if this is actually going to work and actualize. What would you say to a beginner if you was kind of sitting, younger Levi down a year ago? What would you tell them as what their should expectations should be of the industry as a whole? Like, how long do you think it really takes to get results in the industry? How hard do you think you need to work? What is the work ethic required? Like, what do you feel like is required to be successful in this industry as well?
It's a really like impactful question if you can sort of work out the answer, because I'm still a bit stuck on that one, because I look back and I'm like, the only thing I really wish I'd done earlier is actually just bitten the bullet earlier in terms of getting some help, because I spent a lot
Mm.
of time fluffing around working stuff out of myself. And I still never even worked it out. Like I didn't get the answers until I just asked someone that actually knew what they were doing. And that only came from actually just getting a mentor. Like it's just, I don't think you're going to find any successful business owner or any successful salesperson who hasn't invested like anything over like $1,000 into themselves, like at a minimum. Um, like I think it's just a non-negotiable. I don't think there's any way that's possible. So that would probably be my main thing, is just grow a pair and, and invest into yourself. Don't put it off, because you're gonna have to do it. The earlier you get it done, the quicker you're gonna get results. Um, in terms of people walking into the space thinking it's going to be a cakewalk, like I'm pretty sure if they've watched any of these videos, they know that that's not the case and it's just
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like just get ready to do the work. It's just like starting your own business. It's not gonna be easy. You need to get it done regardless. So just do the hard stuff as quick as you can, and then by the time you're Connor's age, you'll be rolling in it like he is.
Yeah, somewhat, somewhat. So yeah, I mean, I think to kind of bounce off that, in case you haven't seen it enough, like if you've watched any of my YouTube videos, you will understand and realize that the expectation I give to most guys is that it's gonna take like 6 months to a year to hit the result and the numbers that you're hitting. You
Yeah,
can do it earlier. I've seen people do it earlier, right? Just got off with Dylan, and he's at like 13K in a month in like 5 months in the game. Like sometimes some people get luckier than others. Sometimes people do it faster, but your general rule of thumb expectation for this space, from what I've seen historically, 6 months to a year. If you can give up those months, if you can sacrifice, if you can just put on the blinders and just focus and get shit done, if you have the right support, there's no way that you won't be at 10K a month in 6 months. One thing for a very long term of time without expecting a massive result, right? You just have to think a little bit more longer term, which I think a lot of guys, especially when you're young, it feels like you want things now, you want things tomorrow, which I understand. In today's world, it's very much like you get things now, you order things on Amazon Prime, and they're going to be there same day or day after, right? Everything's instantaneous nowadays, but you have to think a little bit more longer term, would be my suggestion to a lot of new guys to the space. It's a lot harder than you think. It is simple, but it's just going to take time, and that's the frustrating part of it.
yeah, absolutely. And then the next challenge is when you do start to get a good bit of money coming in, like 5-7K, where it's better than what you had, and you can do it remotely. Like you get to a stage where you sort of get a bit comfortable. You look around, you wonder like, what's that over there? Is that marketing? Should I learn that? Should I learn drop shipping? And you start to sort of look in other ways. But like the most crucial part to actually get to your initial goals, whether it's 10K, 15K, is just to keep sticking down that one line and just keep walking towards it. Because I've also seen it before where they'll get to a good point, but they're not where they wanted to get to. But then they start to veer off and get distracted and go down other routes and not actually stick it out.
Mm, yeah, it's a big thing. And you'd probably see that a lot with like the offer that you're selling as well, like with ecom, right? It's a tale as old as time. The reason most people aren't successful is they just don't stick to one thing, be focused and just be consistent. Like that's the number one reason.
Yeah.
If there's a second reason, it's because they don't ask for help, from what I've seen after working with many, many big hitters in the space. It's just the fact that they don't do it long enough, or they just don't lean on support systems they have, from what I've seen.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so so for you, how's life changed and how is life different? Because you've gone from working as a lifeguard now to now you're over in Bali, chilling, surfing in Uluwatu, right? You live in the dream life, but you're still working a lot, right? That's definitely not going to take away from that. So how's life different from when you were a lifeguard to now?
I suppose it's just that sense of autonomy, and now it's not the fact that life's easier, because really I've just put more responsibility on myself, and I've set higher standards for myself. So it's not like I'm kicking back by the beach closing deals. Like, it's definitely not like that. I'm actually working a bit harder because I got to get up earlier. So there's a complaint for you. I was like the main yeah the only main thing that's changed is now I know where I want to go, and now it's so much easier to get there because I know who to ask. I know what I need to do to get there. It's really just a matter of getting the work done, and I've done enough work to get to where I am now. So now I just increase it incrementally month by month until I'm where I want to get to.
Absolutely. And the really key point to highlight, which I demonstrate in every interview, is the fact that Levi's worked insanely hard to get here, and he still works insanely hard, especially in the role that he's in, right? It's very high volume. It's a lot of calls, a lot of dials. Like for being in the appointment setting position that you're in, like, do you know how many dials you end up doing roughly per day?
Yeah, so it was pretty hectic for a bit. Like when I first got there, I was like, "What have I got myself into?" But now it's sort of at the stage where it's at $200 is the minimum per day, and you're expected 4 sets off that. Um, and then there's also now I'm on the inbound triage rotator as well. So I've got calls coming in, and I'm also responsible for a closers calendar who I get to. Obviously, I get some deals through them as well.
Cool. And how many hours are you working per day at the moment? Like what's your hourly work schedule in Bali?
It's still pretty nuts. I'm not going to lie. Like I'll get up
Mm,
at 6 a.m. for our first meet, and then I'll just jump straight into the dials at about 7:15, and then I'll go to pretty much, like, what's the time now? 5:30. Usually I'd still be dialing right now, and I'll cut off around 7 o'clock Eastern time, Australia, because no one wants to get
mm.
called during dinner.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure
don't
you've
want
got
that.
swan off the phone a couple times there, like I have.
Yeah, yeah,
Always
yeah.
good
Called
fun.
someone during State of Origin the other night. That wasn't great.
Yeah, I've been there. Anyone who's been appointment setting and been in the trenches has definitely been there, being sworn off the
Yeah,
phone, being the annoying salesperson that we are, calling people when they don't want to be called. But
yeah,
um, yeah, what you're doing is grueling work. It is hard work. It is not easy. But the cool part is the light of the tunnel is nearly there, right? You're in a position where closing could be very close in sight, especially with the team changes and new people and less people. Like there's definitely an opportunity for you to go to closes soon, which is great. Where,
yeah,
moving towards where Zen, like, I mean, he had like 10 calls last month and he closed three and he's like making all this money. So, it's not too
yeah,
far away. But I would say for any new guys coming into the space, you really do have to earn your stripes to this thing. Like you really got to work hard. You really got to show that you have the work ethic. You got to develop a skill, just with anything else. You know, a big thing that I think a lot of people have that's wrong with this space, and it's not their fault. It's a marketer's fault for saying that it's really easy, it's really simple. You just have to use your two thumbs to make 3 to 5K a month, like all these other type of BS marketing claims, shiny object things. That's fast and easy. You do have to earn your stripes. It's just as if you're a doctor, right? You want to earn really good money, more than most, without any qualifications and not having to worry about your experience, your background, or whatever at a young age, right? It's really, 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 really key that you have to understand that doctors will do X, Y, Z amount of years to study to achieve the result that they want to achieve, right? So you have to do the same here.
apologies.
All right, we're back. Unfortunately, we're cut out by some connections issues there. But what I was saying before was basically the fact that you need to understand that doctors will literally work and study many, many years to get to the qualifications they need and work insane amount of work hours on their feet high stress environments to get to the point where you be earning what you're earning, right? You know, guys work 4-year apprenticeships to get even close to what you're earning and not even reach that until they've had many, many years of experience as like a plumber or electrician. Like it's kind of insane. So when you have the expectation that and the entitlement that you're going to get paid just like right off the day dot, it's going to be super easy. Far from the truth. You need to earn your stripes. You need to work hard. You need to show that you can actually do this. It's a job economy like every other, right? Whether you're in corporate or you're here. But the beautiful part about high ticket sales is it doesn't matter where you're from, your background, your qualifications, absolutely none of that matters. As long as you can bring results to the table, that's all these business owners care about, right? Who cares if you have a criminal past, even, right? I'm sure they don't even, with high ticket sales, they don't even do background checks like that, right? Literally, high ticket sales can be for anybody from any walk of life. Like as long as you are willing to do the work and bring the results to the table, no business owner cares. They will pay you the money.
Yeah, yeah, big time. Yeah, they do really let anyone in.
Yeah, like literally anyone, you know, tattoos, whatever. You know, there's even some really, really like top sales guys in the space I've seen. I won't say his name specifically because I don't want to be rude, but like he even has like a tattoo on his face and everything, and he makes a lot of money, right? Like 50,000 plus commissions. It's kind of ridiculous. I think he's based in America. Like really, it doesn't discriminate, and it's one of the best places in terms of a job economy that can actually make you money in a very fast way, right? It's very accepting of anyone from any walk of life. So that's something I wanted to highlight on. What what does your family think of all this, man? What do they know about you making money online? Have they always been supportive or what's going on there?
But they pretty much, I don't think they know how much I make. I don't think I've ever told them. I don't really plan on really telling them, maybe until I get to like a point where it's like, all right, now I can start to use it a bit more, help them out. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, they know I'm traveling, they know I'm working while traveling. They'll just ask how it's going. They're pretty casual about it. They never really help me back from doing it. They've always, been fine with me doing it. My dad's in sales himself, but obviously not high ticket. Just
Hmm.
like your base sort of typical sort of sales job. Um, but yeah, they really don't really know anything about it. I don't even know if they know how it works.
Super interesting. Did you ever tell any of your friends about it? Like when you were first getting started into it, like do they have a reaction?
Yeah, I still tell my friends about it. I mean, they don't really care, to be honest. Some of them have like yeah, they're all pretty crazy. I mean, one of my best mates, two of them actually, one of them runs his own email marketing agency. So he's really who I want to thank because he got me into all of this because I started my own agency back in the day as well. Um, and like I was fine doing the sales stuff, but he was like, "Why don't you just do that?" And I was like, "I don't know if you can just do that." And he's like, "Mate," and then he opened it up for me and showed me how it worked. Um,
That's cool.
but yeah, in terms of my friends, like some of them ask about it. They wonder how they get into it. I'll be like, go check out Connor, go look at some of these videos, and they won't even go watch the videos. Like it's pretty
Yeah.
much like that for a lot of people that want to get into this stuff. But it's like, do you really want to get into it? Do you actually want to know how to do it?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of people who are curious but not curious enough to actually really go and do it. Like it's oh, like I've kind of heard, you know, Andrew Tate talk about it. You know, Tate massively made making money online very popular in the last couple of years. Like back when I was, you know, 18, 19, there was nobody. No one knew about
Yeah,
making money online. Only in the last 2 to 3 years, it's actually become really popular and very mainstream because of Tate. Um, there's a lot of people that will hear all these stories and see the content on Instagram and just go, couldn't be me, right? Could never do that.
yeah,
Or like
yeah, yeah.
people will think they have to make content like all these influencers do and so on and so forth, short form content. Like you don't have to do any of that. But yeah, I think there's very few people that actually take this stuff seriously and they're kind of curious, but just not curious enough to really just take it by the balls and actually do what they need to do.
Yeah, yeah, I can sort of see both sides. Like I was also a little bit like that. Obviously, even just being around my mates, like we're all pretty skeptical about that stuff and sort of take the piss. But Having that one mate I mentioned, and obviously another one as well, that actually sort of did it and just said, I don't care, I just want to work out how to do this type of stuff. Then when I saw him doing it, I was like, well, he's doing it, and it's, I don't think anything less of him. He's still my mate. Like, having that person in real life was a big help. And then just getting introduced to this massive space where you're seeing other people do it, and you're like, well, I know one guy's doing it. I've seen this guy doing it. He just lives over there. He's not near me, but it's possible. It's like, you do need a bit of reassurance sometimes.
I think exposure is really key. That's why I think having the community RSA is so important. Because when I first got started,
Yeah.
I had nobody that was actually doing what I was trying to do. There were people that were trying to, but there's no one that was successful doing it. Like, it's crazy to think that, even today you can come on calls. You've got guys like Peter Bennett, right? Who, I mean, we'll probably film another case study in person in Dubai, but he just hit 45K Australian in a month. Like, it's kind of insane. And he's only been in
Crazy.
the space like a year and a half. Like, you got guys like that that still come to group coaching calls, and you can still interact with guys who are actually doing what you want to do. Um, like, there's nothing more value than having exposure. Like, having a friend that you know in person. If you don't have that right now, if you're looking to make money online and you're very lost and you're not sure on what to do, the best place to start is joining a community like RSA,
Yeah.
like having a community of guys who are on the way to doing it, but also have already achieved it. I've got guys like Dylan, who I had an interview with just this morning, who said he was interacting with Rahul, right? Rahul, did make 33K US a month consistently for months on end. Now he's another offer. Now he's doing super well with that, right? You've got guys who are actually successful doing what you want to do that you can surround yourself with, which to me, there is just no price that you can put in that. It's just invaluable.
Yeah, it sort of makes you think, like, what would you have done back in the day to get a mentor? Because, like, if there wasn't if there wasn't programs out there that actually help people like RSA, like, you'd be struggling a bit to actually just reach out to someone and ask for help. Like, you wouldn't want to do that. Even getting put, like, in the company I'm at now, where I've got a direct mentor who's done what I want to do, like, I can just text him right now and ask him any question I want. It's like, I would
Yeah.
never have had access to that if there wasn't for, even just having communities out there that you could do that with.
It's honestly crazy. And back 5 years ago, there was very few training programs out there that do what we do, as well as like many other programs that help with different business models as well, like exactly what you're selling. So we live in a very, very, very rich time of information, but having the support and the guidance from a mentor that actually has the experience required to achieve what you want to achieve, it's very far and few between, right? There's not a lot that actually exists out there. There's a lot of people who, high ticket sales especially, there's a lot of people in high ticket sales who don't necessarily have the experience, but are trying to teach very, very early because they believe they can make more money doing so. So very, very, very rarely do I see that you have a mentorship where you have one-on-one access to someone who's been doing this a long time, aka by end of this year, 6 years experience in the industry. It's a long time. It's a very, very long time
Honestly.
in this industry. So I've seen some stuff. I've seen all the problems you could ever encounter. I know exactly what you're thinking at every single moment in time. So yeah, I feel very, very proud and happy to have created a space where guys like you can have a transformation like this, as well as interact with other guys who are just that extra step ahead of you.
Oh, big time. And it was even just having you there that I could ask, like, if I'm doing, like, making the right decision or I'm on the right path. It's just so much more reassurance than you could actually ask for, because, like, there'd be times it's like I don't actually know what to do right now, and if the fact that I can just text you and get an answer, like, within the same day, is just, the value is insane. Like, all the content and all the calls aside, because that's a whole nother thing. Like, just having access to someone like yourself, or there's, like, what's that, like, 200 and something people in the community. It's like you can ask any one of those guys and they'll probably help you out.
Yeah. And in terms of like how the community is vetted, everyone that's joined in the last 2 years has come through word of mouth referral or YouTube. So everyone like yourself and like all the other case studies that are posted on my YouTube channel, everyone's super similar because they'll watch these interviews and go, well, I'm somewhat like Levi, I'm somewhat like Dylan, I'm somewhat like Zen, I'm like all these guys. And that's why we attract the right people. We get great results because we work with great people. And that's what our community is made up of, great people who actually really want to make this work. I'm not doing any ads where I'm attracting people who are just like, want to be making money real quick in little amount of time, which has its place. But again, you've got solid people, a group of solid people from Australia, US, UK, Europe, all across the world, where you can connect with who are actually doing what you want to do. And it's really, really key.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think we were talking about it maybe before the meeting started. Just um, like even just trying to find you, like there was no ads or anything, so I really had to like align with what you were saying and to want to do that. Um, I sort of lost my train of thought on what the other point was, but yeah,
And that's fine. That's fine. So
that's it.
after being in this space for a while now, you've got some good experience behind you. If you were to condense your biggest learnings, it's kind of putting you on the spot, but if you were to condense your biggest learnings into three main key points after being in the space for a year and getting the result you've gotten, like what main three key learnings like would you share with a beginner or telling like a younger version of yourself?
Yeah, I think one main thing that I learned really recently is just have your like yes, you need to have a high skill level and you need to be working on that daily if you actually want to get where you want to get to. But your intentions need to be just as high. You need to know where you're going and why you want to get there. Because a lot of the time you can easily fall off if you just kind of like the reason people give up because they don't know why they're doing it anymore. They're not inspired to keep going because they don't really care about the carrot that they've been dangling in front of them the whole time. It's like you need to get clear on that. And if it changes, it changes. But just be confident in that what you're actually trying to get. Don't just don't just start blindly doing stuff or following the next shiny thing because it is shiny and you've been told it's the best thing. Like pick a path, stick to it. It's going to be probably hard either way, whether you become the best marketer, the best sales guy, the best at operation. Either way, it's going to be really tricky eventually. So just really hone in on it and get clear on why you're doing it and where you really think it can get to you. Because I think that's probably the main thing is just that focus.
Cool. Okay. So being focused, being committed. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I guess you really just need to back yourself, like actually back yourself. I know everyone watching this has probably heard it a million times, but it's like actually do it. Like don't don't sit there saying one day because I mean it's even like when I talk to my prospects with e-commerce, they're sick of the reason they're on the calls because they're sick of waiting around and they've most of the time they've done it for years on end, like just wondering whether they should do it. And then you talk to them like 3 months down the track and they're so thankful that they finally bit the bullet. And I was the exact same. I was like, why didn't I just do this earlier? I could have saved so much money, so much time. Um, yeah, like there's a reason that everyone gets to where I'm at the moment within like that 6 to 1 year sort of range because like, yeah, it doesn't actually take that long to be honest if you really do the work.
Yeah, I agree. The right guidance, the right support systems, and really putting in the effort, you can do it much faster. But a lot of times it
Yeah,
takes a bit of a learning curve of maybe taking the wrong offer, making a bad decision, maybe staying on an offer too long. There's so many things that can kind of be cause for error that kind of draw out the process a lot longer than it should be. That's
yeah,
usually why it can take a little bit longer, but I agree with you. No one's going to back yourself but you. And the moment that you accept that you're the only person that's going to get the results for you, you're the person that cares the most about your results, that's when things will start to change. I
yeah,
won't care more about your results. No one else will. No, none of your friends, none of your family. Only you are going to hold yourself to your highest standard expectation. You need to understand and realize most beginners that are watching this, the only thing that's standing between you and your goals and where you want to go is just you. It's just you holding you back. And you're the only one that's going to take the steps. No one can do that for you. Wish there was a magical wand that we could all wave and you're at 10K a month and you have all the things you ever want. But unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. And you need to understand sooner rather than later that you are the person standing in the way of where you want to go. the sooner you realize that you're the one that you have to back yourself, then you're going to get to where you want to go much faster.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what you can actually achieve within that amount of time too. And I don't even really focus too much on, like, the money itself is pretty awesome. Like, you definitely can't take that away. That's super cool. But like, the amount of development I've had as a person from when I even first entered the space has been like ridiculous. It's probably worth more than, the money I've made over the year. Like, um, so yeah, it is different when you do look back and actually soak it in, because I haven't really taken the chance to do that yet. But you definitely change a lot as a person and as a leader, because you just give yourself more, like I sort of said before, you give yourself more responsibility and you give yourself more conviction in yourself, and then you start proving to yourself that you can actually do the next big thing, and it just, yeah, you just keep proving yourself right and right over and over again, and it just becomes a lot easier.
I like to say very often that sales and business is one of the best personal development vehicles and coaching programs you could ever do. That's absolutely priceless because your results are a direct reflection of who you are and how you show up as. So the better you are able to show up, the higher standard you have for yourself, the more money you'll make. And it's honestly, for most people, a very ugly like reality check, because if you're not the person that's required to make the money that you want to make, the market's very unforgiving if you're that person, right? This is a commission
Yeah.
only space. You get paid for what you kill. So if at the end of the day you are just not that guy, you will not get paid. All right, sweet. So we're back for another time again. The Bali Wi-Fi, the Bali connections, always promising
Starting to
a
kick in.
shitty Wi-Fi connection, which I know I experienced that when I was there. But let's talk about your goal from here. So you're already making great money. You're doing very well at a very young age. You're traveling. You've got freedom, flexibility. What's your goal from here? What do you want to do from here? What's your next steps in the next 6 months?
Um, yeah, it's a pretty natural progression, I think, to closing. Like, that's where I want to be. I think that's the main goal for a lot of people when they first get in. Um, and I'm really really lucky where I work, because I work directly with like the best, probably one of the best guys in sales I've ever sort of come across, in terms of closing as well. Like, he's really good at what he does, and he's the top guy in the company. So I've got him as a direct mentor, sort of getting me to that stage. But yeah, that's where I want to get to. So hopefully closing by the end of the year is the goal I've got in place. Any sooner would obviously be great, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you can get there a lot earlier, based off your development and the work you've been doing and the shifting around the company that I've heard about through Zen. So I think there's some really promising next steps for you, which is super exciting because the top closers on that offer, what have they made or what do they currently make in terms of like the top closers on the offer that you're on at the moment?
Yeah, well, when I first heard about it, I was pretty taken aback. But it's on average, I believe they're sitting around the 40 to 50. Um, but from when I first got there, I believe the guy I work directly with has done like a 60, maybe 70. I don't want to blow it out too much, but I think that was around what I heard. And I
Mm.
know it's super possible too. Um, like, he can just crank out deals left, right, and center. If it was unethical, it'd be a bit of a problem. But like, like, he's got ethics, and he, puts that into consideration. But yeah, it's pretty crazy potential there.
Crazy going from a life card, over a year ago to now having the maximal opportunity, the ceiling being like 50, 60, 70K a month. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's I've never really like thought about that. It's only really been a year. Um, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't really know how else to describe it.
There's a lot of potential in this space. And again, if you're a young guy watching this who's got no sales experience and you're really looking at in the space and you're really looking to transition, yes, when you first start out, it's going to take a bit of time. It's going to take a bit of work. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not super easy. But just with any type of apprenticeship, right, you can clear those years much faster than you would in any other career as opposed to this. And once you're out the back end of, doing appointment setting and working really hard, you can have great opportunities in closing, and you can work with some fantastic people, really successful guys who are likely in a place and have a lifestyle that you want, right? So really, 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 really key to see the potential that's in this space. All right. So sweet. Well, let's jump to like what your feedback would be as far as like RSA is concerned. Like you've been in it for a while, you've been in it since October. You've seen the community, you've seen the training program, the course, the details, the one-on-one support. Like you've touched on it a little bit earlier on in this interview, but like what would you say your general feedback would be for someone who's not inside there? Like what would you say your personal experience has been like as being a part of the community?
Yeah, I think from what I've seen from like the most successful clients, it's just the super active ones because like I always see like Josh, for example, Josh Dunn, I used to see his name pop up countless times. I even think he reached out to me when he first joined, and now he's just cleared what his first something similar, like 10.6 or something. Um,
Hmm.
um, same with Zen, same with Jax. Like a lot of these guys, Reese, I know his name used to pop up a lot. They'd be posting, they'd be active, um, they'd be helping out other people. But yeah, my experience was I just get just how accommodating everyone was. Like you come in and people are reaching out to you, trying to connect with you, see where you're at, see what help you need. Even more recently, like you still have newer guys reaching out to you, asking, where you're at with things. Do you want to connect? Do you want to do a role play? So aside from the content itself, which is by itself is just massive, like that's pretty much all you need to actually, get into the job in the first place or get an offer in the first place. All the skills are there. Um, Obviously it's all at your own pace, so it's like it's all there for you to do. And then having that obviously support system where I can just message you if I don't get something, or if I've got something super specific that's not in the training, which most of it is. um, there's really no reason why you shouldn't like be making it, like there's no reason why you can't make money like with that in mind, or at least get your ROI back initially. Like it's all in there.
Beautiful. And you have a really unique situation. Well, I mean, I do work with a lot of guys who've worked in training programs before me who've gotten the space and they didn't quite get the support they needed. Um, and you said previously the guys you worked with, maybe half and half, you kind of weren't sure what you're doing, but maybe you might not have got the support that you needed. It's kind of like a 50-50 thing there. How would you compare and contrast the community that you're in now as compared to the first training that you joined that got you in the space?
Oh, it's massive difference. Like even like I know I probably was in the wrong space given that it was US as well, but like there wasn't really like I couldn't just reach out to them and ask a question. Like it was a whole thing where I'd have to jump on a call, sort of wait my line in queue, and then sort of then get it out there. Like it would get my response back a week later. And obviously, like running any business, let alone trying to just develop your skills, speed is going to be the most important thing, because if you can't implement the advice you get straight away, or at least ask a question for feedback straight away, you got to wait like a week and a half to even get like use the answer you're looking for. So it's like it just really drags out the process. But um, like even like if I was to message you, you I don't think you take more than a day or two to reply, like unless you're traveling or something. Um, Even then, like you can just pretty much message anyone and get instant feedback straight away, because there's always going to be someone in there that's doing better than you, like financially or offer wise, etc.
Wait, so the communication was probably the biggest difference, like that one-on-one support.
Yeah, and just the content as well. Like I probably should have touched on that. Like there's so much stuff in there. Like even when you were running me through it on our initial call, I was like sort of taken aback about how much stuff there was to do and how much there even was to sales in the first place, because I thought it was a lot easier. And then when you showed me like,
Yeah,
there's this framework, there's these questions, there's offers, they've got like their own whole, there's like a whole mind map on how to do it, and then there's like phase one, phase two, and then it's
yeah,
like, all right, like this could take me a little bit, but by the time you get through it all, the value is just immense. Like even if there was no coaching calls, or even if there was no support, that would be enough to get you making money in the first place.
absolutely. Um, there's a lot more to this game than most people think, and it's not easy, but it is simple when you have the right framework and the right strategy. If you're going at this with no knowledge, no support, no mentor, it's very, very, very tricky to pull off. You can do it, but it can take a lot longer and you make a lot more mistakes. It's just going to drag out the time that it takes to be successful by a long, long shot. Like it'll make a massive difference. So, is in case it isn't obvious already, I want to ask this question anyway. How likely would you recommend, the RSA to, a beginner to join the space?
Every single day of the week. Like, there's no questions about it. Like, even as I was saying before, when people ask me about how I got into it, what do I do from here? I'll just refer them straight to you, and I'll get them to like at least watch a video so they understand that you're a normal person. You're not just slinging deals next to your Lambo. Like every single day of the week, I'll be like, if you're looking to start and you want to get guided from the get go to Connor. He'll help you out. Yeah, you just be working backwards if you're not, because that's what I did for a while, and that's why, that's why it took me a little bit longer than even most of your case studies. Granted, I still did it in a really good amount of time, but it was only really when I got involved in October to now, where I actually sort of met that sort of 6 month-ish sort of buffer. But if I'd done it in January, I would be probably in a lot better spot than I am now. So yeah.
100%. Do it early, and get the support that you need. I agree. Any final notes you want to finish on? Is there anything that you wanted to share?
Not really. Like I think a lot of people like have a really weird perception on actually just getting a mentor, because they feel like it's kind of like a weak thing to do, or they're really cool if they can do it themselves. But really, it's just like it's like any investment, really. Like, you're going to get a return if you actually follow through on it. It's like you're never going to put money into getting support if it's actually there and not get a return. Like, there are people out there that are dodgy. But yeah, like if you truly see it as an investment and you treat it like that, and you respect your own money by following through on the actual trainings and asking for help, then you're definitely going to get it back tenfold.
Absolutely. The best way you can think in a contrast is it's like going university, but significantly cheaper. Significantly cheaper. And you don't have to plunge into massive university debt or college debt to get there. It's much cheaper in contrasting comparison. So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that interview with Levi. Hopefully you found it super valuable. It's another guy in the space who's doing super, super, super well, and he's got a lot of promising future ahead of him. The next 6 months to a year is going to be super exciting for you. So yeah, hopefully you took notes, hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you want to get a similar result to Levi, if you want to do a similar transformation, if you feel like you're similar to Levi and you have a similar background, which is pretty relatable to most people, lifeguard, working in retail like I did, like it's if you think that you're like any of the case studies here, then definitely apply to see if you actually might be a fit. You may be, you may not be, that's totally okay. But like you heard from Levi said before, we're not here to pressure you in anything. We're not here to push you into something to buy something that you don't need. Like, we absolutely want to work with the best clients possible. And the way that we do that ultimately is by making sure we get clients to this, right? People who watch these case studies, these videos, because we get great results because we work with great people, right? So if you feel like you want to get some of the transformation, there's a link down below in the description. And yeah, guys, I guess we'll see you in the next one.